Recording. Okay, hi everyone. My name is Eliseo Vaquero, and now is the time to continue with our workshops. This is the workshops in English. We have two. First, the VP of memberships, and the second one is Moment of Truth. And the idea is to have successful clubs. Why we organize this in Latin America? Because we don't have a district or some support organization in Toastmasters for this, because we can do it for ourselves and support between each clubs and some members who has some experience. And I'm going to explain the rules. Please, if you want to talk, remember you can raise your hand, virtual hand. But in other case, just put your microphone off. And please, if you can, put your camera on, because always we want to know if you are there and if you have some good reactions. That the idea is always to learn in a group as a team, because that's the idea, to share our knowledge with the others. And of course, the idea, if you have good questions, of course you can do it. But first, please listen our presenters, and also we are going to have one for 1 hour each of them. And first, we are going to start with Angie Carolina Cañas, which is in charge of the first workshop, who is VP of Membership. Please help me with a big round of applause to Angie.
Thank
Stacy
you.
Soldiers, Angie.
I have to say that I am so thankful for you to having me here. I was the previous VP of membership of Bogota English Club. So I want to share with you some of the general rules that we follow for that role. But as well, I want to share with you some probably, let's say, tips of how I managed to operate in that role during the time that I was executing it. Okay. And for that, well, as Eliseo said, it's important to know that we are like in a set of practical workshops. And in this first hour, I'm going to cover what is related to the VP of membership at Toastmasters. And what we want to know, how to successfully manage the VP of membership and why it is important to our clubs. That's why I'm going to show you the agenda today. We are going to do a short introduction. I want to share with you general information about the role. Well, as I told you, my experience at Bogota English Club. I want to show you the indicators as well, how we can have a quick look over the indicators to know how good we are performing at that role or how we could improve. We are going to do a short impromptu activity as well, just to lose like a getting used as we do it in our regular sessions. And finally, we are going to give a conclusion, and if you have any question, we are going to be open to solve it. So let's begin. I think that we are not going to use the breaking rooms option as we are not too many, but I want to invite you to scan the QR code that we have on the screen. And I want to invite you to answer, well, you are going to open your mix in a little bit, but I want you to talk about your name, which club do you belong to? And in that link that you are opening in menti.com, I want you to introduce 3 skills that you consider the VP of membership should have to perform a good role. I'm going to give you probably 2-3 minutes for that, and we are going to share our thoughts. So you are saying that we need patience, persuasion, listening a lot, management, thorough, objection handling. You have to be friendly, helpful. Okay, guys, so what we are going to do is that I want to invite you to open your mic, your microphone, and choose any of those words that we are seeing on the screen and tell us why do you believe that that is an important skill that any VP of membership should have. And I would like to invite Billy, who is raising his hand, just to share with us.
Excellent. I think one of the most important skills is to be
But
friendly.
Billy, 1 second. I
Sure.
want first to share 2 more details, your name and the club that from where you are coming from.
Excellent. My name is Billy Ameka, and I'm the VP of membership of the club, Morris Gelbman Club in Buenos Aires. And for me, one of the most important qualities for a VP of membership is friendly. Because when someone contacts you for the first time, they don't understand at all what Toastmasters is all about. So by being friendly and open and helpful, you get them to join us as a guest. And then after they visited once or twice, they'll want to become members.
Thank you, Billy, for that. Who wants to jump in to share their thoughts with us? George.
Hi, I'm George Chiesa. I don't have any formal role anywhere currently. I've been doing a lot of the roles, I think, and I put in the listening a lot. I mean, usually people don't ask questions enough, and usually people don't listen to the answers enough. And you will get more information listening to what a person says as a reply to a question that is unrelated than asking a direct question. We used to ask people, why do you come to Toastmasters? Guess, why do you come to Toastmasters? But don't tell me to improve your public speaking. Tell me exactly why. And then you listen very, very, very carefully on what they say and what they don't say. That's why I mentioned listening.
Thank you, George. And there was missing one answer. Which club do you belong to?
Morris Gelman.
Okay, thank you very much. Vika, do you want to jump in?
Okay, I didn't have for now official role in club, but already like 2 times. I was a quiz master, yeah. And of course, I recently joined the club, and of course, I had a lot of questions. So it's like I've got fresh experience about my connection and cooperation with vice president of membership. And I think that, yeah, so mostly here's patience, yeah. So patience, I think it's very important for a very important skill for vice president of membership, because when I started, by the way, yeah, in our club is Billy is vice president of membership. Hello, Billy again. And now, by the way, Billy is my mentor, became my mentor also. And I have to say that vice president of membership, this is the first person with whom new member starts to talk. And of course, I had a lot of questions. So, and of course, I think that's why I think that patience is very important, because because it's important to spend time for each person to talk and to understand which this or that person, new member, yeah, has. And to think how it's possible to help this new member to reach what this member wants. So I think that it's important. Empathy, also I mentioned empathy and patience. Yeah. So to help new member to start from the very beginning, start and choose, for example, right path, and to understand system and everything. What is important to start to take part in meetings.
Thank you, Vika. Eli, do you want to share any thought with us?
Yes, I'm Eliseo Vaquero. I'm from the club Toastmasters Bogota English Club. I'm the president. And yeah, I think in this specific role, it's important to be a good listener and also to be persuasive. Because if you listen very careful, the possible candidate and you persuade them, like you give the correct words, I think you can close the deal, have a new member in this case.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for sharing with us what you think. And in addition, what Toastmasters says about the abilities that we may have for covering this role. Marketing, because of course we are like a kind of selling and promoting a product. Networking and relationship building, because we are even building relationships inside our club, but we are trying to bring more people to the club. Even sometimes, for example, Monica, who is key here, when I was VP of membership, we were sharing candidates or leads between clubs. So we need to have like a strong relationships even with other clubs. Strategic planning, because of course every time you must be like thinking how I'm going to get new members. Even something really important is how to maintain the current members, because even the current members must be happier, must have something to offer, and they must be happy where they are now. Internal and external communications, just for the same reason. Organization and problem solving, because as always in life, not everything is perfect. So we are going to need to solve some problems in the middle. Positive is small group collaboration, because of course I'm going to show you that we are not working alone, we are working in a team. Succession planning, because we are going to need to know who, or probably who are the following people that is going to take the VP of membership role. And compliance with standard procedures, because you know that we belong to our ONG, so we need to follow general rules for the organization, and that's how we work. So those are the general skills that Toastmasters things that we need to have for that role. I want to invite any of you, because this is going to be like the boring part, but I think that it is worth it to read the role description of the VP of membership. Billy, is it okay for you help me to read this part?
Sure, that sounds great. So the summary is, as Vice President of Membership, VPM, you promote the club and manage the process of bringing in guests and converting them into members by initiating contact with the guests, helping them feel welcome, and providing them with information they need to join. You help maintain a constant influx of new people into your club. You also attentively monitor membership levels and strategize with the rest of the executive committee about how to overcome membership challenges when they occur.
Thank you, Billy. So here we may have how we are going to apply those skills that we need. So the first one, we need like the marketing ability to promote the club. And in this part, we need to work really close with the VP of relationships, because the VP of relationships is the first one to have usually a contact with the people who is coming from outside. So we need to work really close just to to get new members for our club. We need to monitor membership levels, as I told you. It's normal that some members maybe are just going to leave, they're not going to come back anymore, but we always need to keep our group like a refreshed, always alive with good energy to just like to work in for our goal. What is positive about this role? Like the other roles, you are going to be in the board of directors, the BOD. And what is good about being there? It's because where things happen, where you can take decisions, because you can even work together to make grow your club. So it's always good. For those that are not too in use yet with the officers, we have sergeant at arms, which usually could be those in charge of logistics in the club. The VP of relationships, that as I told you, is like the first one and have a direct contact with the, let me choose this here, is the first one who used to have a contact with the people who is coming from outside. For example, in the Bogota English Club, what we usually promote a lot is our publications in media, in social media, like Instagram, Facebook, Meetup, Eventbrite. Actually, here, Gina Garzon is our VP of relationship here today. She is supporting me. Actually, she helped me a lot to this presentation. I want to take the opportunity to thank her. We get the VP of membership, that is the role that we are working. The treasurer, we have to work with the treasurer really in partnership, because once we get the new member, of course, we have to be working with him in collaboration to see if we get the amount to be paid for the membership, if everything is in order. I'm not going to enter to detail that today, but we need to register the new member in the platform and put all the details for the new member. So he is going to have access to the platform. So that is like the introduction part for this new member to have access to the whole world of Toastmasters. We have the VP of education, and we must work with him very closely as well. Why? Because it's like a transition part where the person bought the product, but he is going to begin to enjoy the benefits of the club. So is the VP of education in charge of showing them how things work when you are just walking in the club, like how to enter to the platform, how you are going to organize your roles, what you're gonna do in performing each of the roles. So always you may want to work with the VP of education to have like a soft transition for this new member. The secretary is in charge like having things in order for our club, because of course we have paperwork to do and we may have everything official. So that's the supportive role that is doing our secretary. Okay, I can change. Okay, here I'm going to use an analogy that Monica shared with us this morning. I have to say, Monica, that I did some adaptations for this. You're gonna realize it. So how we can make a relation between the officer roles and our day-to-day life. So let's imagine that you want to go to a restaurant. You have followed the restaurant, let's say in Instagram, and you see that restaurant is kind of fancy, or maybe they sell delicious and very tasty food. And you go, maybe you just passing by, say like, okay, I'm gonna try it. So you go, you enter to that restaurant, and you sit. When you sit there, you want to see the menu. You are not completely sure that you want to order food in that restaurant. So we are going to follow the process that we need, like to close that deal, let's say that like that. I study finance, so you will understand why I use some words that probably are too from the financial work. Okay, so we have, let me move something here. So in the restaurant, we may have the manager. The manager is in charge of having everything in order and is in charge to verify that everyone is leading the road. So when you enter to the restaurant, there is a host who is going to give you the welcome. Probably if it's a fancy restaurant, they are going to receive your codes and they are going to lead you to the table. Once you are in the table, here is the waiter or the waitress who are going to enter to action. And that could be the VP of membership. Because what has the VP of membership has to do? Opinions? What do you think the waiter, the waitress offered when you enter to the restaurant? You can open your mic and let's do this like a workshop. Of course, they are going to have to give the welcome. Vika, what else is going to offer the waiter or the waitress?
To propose menu,
Sure.
to answer questions. Yeah. Maybe if guests don't know what exactly to ask for, maybe to propose something, to start from something, for example, I don't know, we call it picada, yeah, here in Argentina. So to start from snacks or salads or something light, or maybe we start with glass of wine. Or maybe if they don't know what to choose, to propose like I don't know, this plato del dia. So this like yeah, so something like chef special proposition, yeah, of chef. So
so they offer first like I'm going to offer an entrance, like a appetizer to see if you want to stay here at the restaurant.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show you the menu with all the products that we offer. And I'm going to show you the prices as well of that menu.
Yeah.
And after, well, of course, you are going to send the order to the kitchen. There is going to be the chef with all their team organizing the food, the treasurer charging for the bill at the end, and the VP of relationships. He's doing like always the community manager because he's offering our product everywhere. And here is important to see how you are going to promote your club, and you have to identify like the characteristics of your club to see where you are going to promote it. Because, for example, a virtual club is not the same day an on-presence club. So probably if you are in an on-premise club, face-to-face club, probably you are going to have more open houses wherever you can even promote more club. But for example, at Bogota English Club, after the pandemic, we become more an online club. Right now, to be sincere, we are a hybrid club. We hold meetings, face-to-face meetings once a month. But I could say that more of our members are really online friends. So we have to take advantage of that and promote our club in different communities, Facebook, Twitter, Meetup, well, even professional platforms for that. Let me remember this. Therefore, what is the role of that waiter or waitress? Attend the guest, provide information about the products and prices, manages the order. It means that he will have to make a transition with the chef. As I told you, the VP of education, but you as well may have a really important activity that you shouldn't forget. And is the even they are part of the club, you should pay attention to their user experience. Because, okay, maybe they buy the product for a first time, but you want that they continue working the product. So you may have a really happy customer. Okay. Okay, let's move. Right now, I'm going to share my experience at Toastmasters. To be sincere, when I joined or I began to do this role, I didn't know that I have kind of sales abilities. Despite I am not the person who sales, I need to like I have some of those abilities. What I discovered was, so first, the first thing that you have to do is get to know your club. Which one are like those strong advantages of your club? Because even in the whole Toastmasters community, we are focused on public speaking and leadership development. Every club has like a special characteristics which make the club appropriate for one or other customers, let's say. So the first that I do was to know my club, which one were their interests. Is that really a safe environment? You should really be, you really need to verify that, because you can sell a safe environment if that's not a safe environment. If it is not, you need to speak with your team, all the boards of directors, and if you need to correct something, you need to do it just to make a safe environment, to make it more comfortable for new people. The conditions, you need to know the meeting, the days of the meetings, are the virtual, face-to-face meetings, which hours are those meetings, because probably you are going to have guests from other countries, other cities. What else? The member profiles, because I think that this is really important, because as I told you now, the clubs are equal. What I realized at Bogota English Club is that we are quite young in network professionals who usually work with projects, and we want to make strong our English abilities, but to perform in public speaking and to develop our leadership development. So I realized that that was like a kind of our core members. Of course, not all of them. For example, when I joined the club, I didn't have my English abilities too strong. Of course, to be sincere, I've always been afraid of speaking in public. And probably I was thinking today that I told Elise, okay, maybe I am always afraid about talking of delivering a 5 to 7 speech, and now I will have to speak an hour. I'm like a So I have to really thank Toastmasters, because I began to strengthen those abilities, and to be sincere, this even made or offer a platform to change my job. I began to work in a leadership position, but in English, and that was really important. I have to thank Toastmasters about that. And I have to say that many of our members are looking for that. Just passing to the second point, of course, as you know your club, now you have to know your leads. And to know if what they are looking for is gonna make a fit with what you have to offer. Because, for example, we have had like a lot of guests at Bogota English Club. They are looking for English classes. And that's not our core. So we need first to have clear what we have to offer, and second, what they want, and to see if we can fit that. Otherwise, probably there are no the correct leads for our club. That's really important to know that. And something that we have capitalized as well in the club, and is that we are quite adventurous, and we would like to go hiking, to go to, you know, even the club the last month has his 10th anniversary, and I'm going to show you some pictures later. We made like a scale, like a really, let's say, medium risk activities, and that was really nice because even for some people was the first time at doing something, and they took the risk of doing it, and even that like build strong relations with all the members. So that was something really good to share with us. Here are some pictures of here, as I told you, we are an hybrid club. We celebrate our 10th anniversary with a lunch outside of the city. We really have a good time. Even people from other cities come to Bogota to celebrate, because let's say that we have people from other cities as well. So they even imagine they travel 1 hour to come here to Bogota just because it is worth it. So we are really building community. I don't know why I can change this. Easy, okay. Well, now I'm going to go to the theory part. I'm going to share with you some techniques and strategies that I have made used to that cover. I think the first one and the most important is to have clear the 11 paths that Toastmaster offers. Why? Because we have a broad options or a broad menu to offer to our customers. For example, some people may have interested about development some engaging humor abilities, but some others may be interested in develop dynamic leadership or leadership development. So even this is a public speaking club, we can develop like a different branches to work in our skills. So we have like a branch of new abilities to develop during this path together. So the first thing that I think the people of membership should know is what I'm not going to read this. I think that you may have already have this information. If you don't have it, I'm going to share this presentation later, or I can share the link. But I think that it's important to have all these pathways clear. And even when the new members are like trying to enroll us, the first thing that you want to ask them is, why would you like to share or join us at Toastmasters? Because probably one person is just telling no, because I want to go every Sunday to my family meeting, and I want to have fun and make them always smile and be happy. I am enrolling in Toastmasters because my best friend is going to get married in 1 year, and I'm going to be the best man, and I need to deliver the speech that night. Everybody has different motivations, and we need to learn to offer them solutions according to their needs, and we need to personalize that. So it's important to know that. And as well, as I told you, that's for the new members, but as well, we may always be like nurture the current members. So we may want to know, are they really attending? Why are they not attending to our meetings? Probably, maybe you are not like doing as a salesperson, but even like well, it was a person that I brought to the club. What happened with that person? Why is not coming anymore to our meetings? Maybe 2, 3 meetings. Maybe just ask them what is going on. Maybe they are sick. Maybe they are just traveling. Maybe someone died. And in that moment, we can be supported because we are a community, not just a club to be joining professional leadership things. I think that that's one of the big tips that I could share with you. We are not just like a professional networking or something like that, but we want to build a strong community and we want to know what is going on with that person as well. And something important as well is probably when you have those new members, can you intuit abilities that can be nurtured in that person? Probably that person could be the next VP of membership, the next VP of education. So maybe you want reinforce, make grow those abilities. For example, when I joined the club, I was really bad at delivering speeches, but I wanted to learn about, I don't know why I became involved in the board of directors, but it was like, okay, let's try to organize this, how we can make this better. So even you can begin to grow and develop other abilities. So that's really good for just like to foresee what is coming in the next periods of semesters for the club. Okay, now I want to share with you this actually I didn't place here the URL. I'm going to correct that. But this was something that I developed, I have never sell anything and I have never be paying attention to what I want to sell. So I can solve this information. What it says. Okay, when you have a prospect or a lead, okay, this is an open opportunity and you must contact them. Here is quite important to identify how you are going to contact them. For example, at Bogota English Club, usually is people who always like to use WhatsApp. Is people who doesn't really like information through the email. And to be sincere, I don't like to send information in the email either. So I was always like, okay, this is my WhatsApp number. Please share me your WhatsApp number or Telegram. And I'm going to share the first information with you, or maybe I can call you. If you want to, you have even to verify, because some people, they just like to write. But other people say, no, call me and give me all the information at once. So you have to identify how they like to be contacted. Probably in your clubs, people like emails. You have to verify that, how they like to be contacted. Once you have that meeting with that person, you as a VP of membership may want to evaluate as well. Okay, that's a target for the club? Or probably not. Because I don't know, maybe if they are expecting English classes, that's not your target. And even in the call, you explain them that this is not an English school, you may have to disqualify them. Of course, we are going to have people who are interested in us and we are interested in them. So we may want to nurture that relationship. Probably we may want to invite them to our regular meetings. Probably we may want to offer them some of the roles that they can perform easily, like the counter, the timer. So even they are having like that appetizer just to see if they want to stay at our restaurant. Once they have been joining frequently, we have to see, okay, right now we have really create an opportunity. Can we maybe push a little bit more that member to become, well, that guest to be a member? And you know, even that is not a work that is being doing just the VP for the VP of membership. Even that's a work that you are doing as a club. Because in that moment, the guest is going to see like, okay, if I make mistakes, how the people in the club reaction to that? Is this really a safe environment? What happens if I don't know the word, at least for us, what happens if I don't know the word in English to say that? What happened if I forget completely what I was going to say? How the people in the club reactions? So this is a really teamwork to convert that guest in member. What I did was just to apply this flow that I am showing you. And what I did as well was like to begin a simple record in Excel. Like I was using WhatsApp, so I list the telephone numbers because like from time to time, some people again write you. So I never used to delete the chats. So if that person write me again, I knew that I have contacted that person before. Or probably that person said like, I'm going to go in holidays next month, but probably the following month, I want to join you. So I want to have the record here. In that moment, Angie Carolina said that she was going to join in July. So I need to keep an eye on that and reach them in July. Okay, I did this as well because I really had bad memory. So I is used to write everything. If you are good with the records at your memory, well, that's up to you, but this is a really helpful tool. And that is something important as well, is that you need to classify those leads. Because for example, I have some cases in where a person that was supposed to be interested didn't answer anymore. So after writing, I don't know, 2 or 3 times, probably you shouldn't contact that person again because you don't want to cause like a negative reaction as well. So probably it's not the time for them. We don't know why they didn't answer anymore, but probably it's time to forget it for a time. Well, probably it's people to say, okay, now I don't have money enough. I don't know. For example, I knew one girl that she was going to do a master's in another country, and she said, okay, probably when I come back. So okay, let's keep in contact. Probably we can speak later. Okay, now I want to share with you like this board. When you are a VP of membership, you have a special entrance in the website, and you can see how you are performing at your role, or even how your club is performing, because this is not just your whole responsibility. So in this part, you have some indicators where you can see how many new members you have and what is the goal that you need to reach, and how many more new members you may have. Of course, these they are separated because the club begins to reach goals as a whole. in the monthly meetings they are doing the BOD. They are just like a tracking how we are doing in those indicators. And of course, as I told you, this part is related to the new members, but you may have to pay attention to this part as well. And it is how our renewals are going. Because as I told you, even the current members are like our potential customers for the next period. So once that moment has arrived, we want to become them again new members for our current members. We don't want to lose them. And of course, for this, you may develop some strategies as well. For example, you can offer a discount if they pay before, like a 10% discount if you pay even before the semester begins. You want to develop many strategies as you want and as they work in your club, because not all the strategies work for all the clubs. So probably in one club, they want to do a training. And you may want to cover, okay, the club is going to cover 40% of any training if you renew before X date. So I want to invite you in this part to organize to build the strategies that you want to use to keep those current members for your club. Okay, I see the yellow color in the back. At this point, I want to invite you to do the impromptu activity, and I need 3 volunteers for this. What you are going to do, I'm going to present you 3 episodes, three situations, and you are going to offer us like a solution of how you are going to deal with that situation. And for that, you may have 1 minute. Okay, any volunteers for that? Okay, we got Billy. Anyone else?
Question.
Mhm.
As which role? For which role? For vice president of membership or
Yep.
any? Ah, okay.
I want to remove this. So do you want to participate, Vika?
Okay.
Okay,
My bad. I started to talk, so that's why.
Billy, please choose a number from 1 to 3. Number 3.
Number 3.
Okay. So the situation is the following. That person doesn't join the club, but usually participates to promote English classes. I want to know what you are going to do to deal with that situation.
Yeah, that would be definitely a situation that you would want to approach carefully. You don't necessarily want someone in there promoting something else other than Toastmasters. We don't know if these English classes are good or if they're expensive, and it's not the goal of the organization. So I would definitely have a conversation with that person and explain to them the importance of Toastmasters, and that Toastmasters is geared not as a way of learning English or promoting an English class, but it's a safe environment where people should not feel any pressure or promotion of anything else. And if he really wants to participate and grow his leadership skills and his communication skills, he's more than welcome, and that is fine. But promoting something outside of Toastmasters, this is not the place for it. I would encourage him to look at Instagram or other places but not to distract from the goal of Toastmasters.
Thank you very much, Billy. That was a difficult one. Vika, number 1 and number 2.
Number 1.
There you go. You have contacted the lead, but he thinks or she thinks the price is too high, and she will continue attending as a guest. What could you do? There is no correct answer, just to say
Yeah,
this.
this is my point of view. Yeah, I think that, well, my principle is like this. Yeah, so I think that if person doesn't have money to $65, come on, this is not so much. So no, this is not a fortune. Yeah. For example, yeah, I'm thinking like from my experience, when I started to calculate how much cost one session, yeah, our one meeting, if to divide, yes, the $60 divide per quantity of our meetings. So it's a very affordable. It's affordable price. That's why I think that if person wants to continue to be as a guest, okay, no problem. But I think that with time, this person will not be able to improve and to achieve. So will not be able to go forward. Yeah, I mean, what about knowledge? What about skills? Because each guest has limits of possibilities. For example, a guest is not able to be will not have access to studying. Yeah, so on a base camp will not be able to. So that's why will not be able to develop skills and receive knowledge. And even guests, even during these meetings, guests are not able to become evaluator, for example. Yeah, so guests are not able to have a lot of possibilities, which members have these possibilities. That's why I think that with time, this person will be lost, unfortunately. But at the same time, if person is not able to afford such amount of money, so maybe this is a low motivation. So also another one reason not to expect anything, not expect that this person will become a member of club. On the other hand, maybe this is about financial situation. Yeah. So
yeah, thank you, Vika, for the answer. Yeah, let's say that we may have like a different action points to action in that moment. Even in Bogota Toastmaster, we have current member that had that situation like some months ago, and he told me like, okay, it's a little bit expensive. I don't have the money yet. What I proposed him was like, okay, you are going to begin to save money for this semester. I'm going to try to get you a special price, but you are going to begin to take those like basic roles, like a counter, like a timer, but you are going to be compromised with the club. So in that moment, and he became a member. But Vika, as well as you said, we may have the other corner, and is that person that wants to always join for free the meetings and never gets a member. So you may want to like okay, to analyze each situation and to see how you are going to act in each of those. Thank you for your.
So can I add? I would like to add also something. Good thought comes later, usually with delay. If person doesn't understand or doesn't think that this knowledge is a real huge contribute in self-development, so that's why this person will not be searching for possibility to pay for this education. Yeah, because this education experience. But if, for example, again, I'm thinking something like I'm thinking about my experience. From the very beginning, I was searching. I had a goal to search for possibility to develop my speaking skills, yeah, communication skills. That's why I see that this money is investment in my future and investment in this like investment in my education. That's why that's why I'm very motivated. And for me, of course, to pay this, I think this is affordable this money, and it's not high price for such good quality of such education.
Thank you very much, Vika. Well, I think that we just may have 4 minutes to go. George, I'm going to give you 30 seconds.
15. The price of education is cheaper than the price of ignorance, because the price of ignorance is that you will always earn less the rest of your life.
Sure, and that's all the arguments that we need to give to our leads. And what I do as well is like divide the price of the semester for each month. And after you are in that month, I say, okay, per session, you are investing that X amount of money for usually 1 hour and a half, 2 hours of a space of learning and practicing. And even that's a safe environment. So as you say, this is an investment in yourself. Okay, I'm going to jump to the end as we have 3 minutes. And I'm going to conclude with this. I ask ChatGPT what is suggesting to be a good VP of membership at Toastmasters. And what he told me, first, build a strong team. And is what I told you, we are not doing this work isolated. We are working as a team. Second tip, be proactive. Anything that you have learned in your life from a friend, you can apply it here. Just that you need to have like a box tool, and you are going to get from that box the tool that you need in a specific moment, even for yourself or even to help anyone else in the club. Promote membership. I used to be always promoting the club, I was working in a software company, saying no, I am not good at speaking with the clients. I have the solution for you, because you need to practice. So I am always promoting the membership, and that's because I am convinced of that. Encourage member participation, because you need to have people engage in the club. And it's always important to give every person like a little role to build a strongness in the club. Recognize achievements. What I told you, you don't need to have like a medal, but it's important to be able to recognize people for the effort that they are doing. So once again, thank you for being here. Thank you for having me here, for having you here. I want to invite you to stay, because it's going to follow the second part of the workshop, Moments of Truth. Thank you very much. I don't know if you want to add something else, like a really, really short, just to finish. Thank you very much. Back to you, Eliseo. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Angie. I think it was a great job. And everyone say congratulations for your clear explanation and for share all your experience with us. Well, at least part of your experience. I'm sure it's not everyone.
We need to take a picture and a screenshot of this. So I don't know if...
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, if please some of the guys who are not here, please turn on your camera. Maybe Elida, you can do it also. And Carmen, well, Carmen looks like she's there. And
Elida, George. You are the same. You have the two users here. Okay, guys, let's take a picture here. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. I'm going to share this screenshot. with our VP of relationships. Probably you are going to see our posts in our networks, Instagram, Facebook, wherever. So once again, thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Angie, for that presentation. Yes, because the idea is to have 2 workshops today. We are going to continue with the second one, who is Moment of Truth. Is in charge of George Chiesa. Please help me with a big round of applause to George. The stage is all yours, George.
Thank you, guys. And before I begin, congratulations, Angie. That was amazing. We always learn something from everybody, and I learned a couple of things from you. That's brilliant. Lots of tips, a lot of practical things. And I love the ChatGPT. I also have some screens. I'm going to do a very short version of what I did this morning. But before that, I'm putting in the chat a URL where you can download all the material that I'm going to use. You can also go to Toastmasters and download the material for the training 290. Okay, 290 is the course of this, so you can download it from there. I added in this folder, I'm going to show you what it is that I added. Share screen. I'm going to share the desktop. I know it's not nice to do it this way, but it's a very practical way for me to do this, okay? The content of the folder that I'm sharing with you is this, okay? And it's Moment of Truth, the presentation, a PDF which contains the instructions for you to do this same seminar in your club. This is a Teach the Teacher. I'm teaching you how to do this in real life, okay? We're going to run a very simple session now, but these usually last 1 hour, 40 minutes, depending on the size of your club. But you have to allocate a session to do it properly. Then you have a chart that is something that you can use to remind your members of the things that you're looking for. And then you have a handout. Now I'm going to ask you to print this handout, because if you write on the handout, you commit yourself to actually do something with it, okay? Now I'm not going to check if you are showing me the printed paper, but I'm going to give you 3 minutes to try to print it. And in the meantime, I'm going to go to my presentation and I'm going to put this slide, which also contains the QR code. Okay, so either way, please get the material, and I'm going to take 2 minutes to load my material. Don't take the material, we're going to mail it to you. You're going to have it anyhow, but it's easier to follow if you do have it. We there yet? Yeah? Yeah, no? Somebody moved ahead? You want to print only the one that says handout. The other ones, you can have them on the screen when you do the homework in your real club, or you can print them, whatever. I just want you to have an ability to record some things that somebody will say, and they say loud, this applies to me, this applies to my club, this applies to a club that I know of, okay? So let me move this out of the way. What is a moment of truth? And there's a question that a moment of truth is a point of contact when any aspect of the club where your impression of the club is either formed or destroyed. If you have a good impression and you get disappointed, the magic goes away, and those are the customers or the members that go away. Now, I also took the liberty, like she did, of asking ChatGPT. And I asked GPT where the moment of truth were created. The moment of truth were created in Scandinavian Airlines in the 80s. And then Google extended that. And they say, well, first moment of truth is when they decide to join, to buy, to acquire, when you commit to do something. A second moment of truth is after they have joined the club, after they have committed to something, well, they really evaluate what's going on. And this is a moment where the crude reality is I stay or I vote with my feet and I go. And Google introduces the other one, which is the ultimate moment of truth, which is, am I prepared to recommend this? And the satisfaction here is measured by how many friends this person brings to the club, how many acquaintances they bring to the club, how many colleagues they bring to the club. Now, this file is huge, it's long, okay? So what I did is I included this file of my chat with ChatGPT talking about MOT Plus, and there's full of tips. I asked ChatGPT to calculate things, to tell me how to calculate retention, to tell me how to calculate how many members I'm losing, etc., etc., etc. Please, if you have the ability, read it. One, because it's a good usage of ChatGPT. Two, it will give you ideas of what questions to ask to ChatGPT for your club. And three, there's a lot of things that you may think you know and you don't. And in one case, ChatGPT gave me a wrong answer. I said, no, that's not, oh, yeah. So it goes back and forth and it's useful to actually do it. So we have the ChatGPT thing. Then I want to, for 1 second, to talk about this. This is not going to be covered in this class or this training, but it's for you to be aware that it exists, okay? There's a guy called Mike Rafferty who used to be an international director, and he created this tool and he still runs it, and basically calculate how many members you have last year, 1st July, how many members do you have today, how many members we lost, what percentage is that, growth or loss, green is growth, red is loss, and how many new members you had. And based on that was the retention. So let's take the example of Bogota. Bogota. Which one of the clubs in Bogota was? This one, Toastmasters Bogota English Club, right? Was this one? Somebody answers, please unmute yourself. I don't need you to be silent on this. We need to be active. Everybody shouting things. So they had 23, they have now 17. They have shrunk by 26%, but that is not the major problem. The major problem is that they have 13 new members to cover the fact that if you add 13 plus 23 and you figure out how many they have at the end, they kept 47% of the members. They almost changed half of the club in a year, which is a good thing if you got rid of people who were not doing anything useful, neither for themselves nor for the club. And this is very politically incorrect to say, but it's the right thing to do when you have people that are a bad fit for the club. If you manage to redirect them to other clubs, it's a good thing. If I have an English club and I lose somebody who doesn't speak English and they go to a Spanish club, that's a win-win for everybody. Okay, so this is an actual measure of movements. It doesn't say that the movements are good or bad. The presumption is that having more members and growing in size, reducing the loss is good. We're not going to cover this today. I just want you to know that it exists. And as a taster of what we're going to do in the next session, we're going to cover other tools that allow me to find status about clubs. For example, I want to see the DCP history of club 4151, which happens to be my club. And it tells me for the current month, we are in May, and for the end of the year, and for the current month, it tells me for each of the goals, what was the number. So I see how the numbers are growing month by month, and I can go and compare any combination of club year and month, and it gives me the ability to take this data and graph it or do something that allows me to see how am I doing compared to other years. It's not very useful in May, but it's extremely useful earlier in the year because people say, oh, we still have time. Well, no, the years that we did well, we did things in advance, okay? Again, we are going to cover this in another training. We don't need to cover a lot of that now. So we continue with moment of truth. I just want to give you a taster that this is the basis for the diagnosis, and that we're going to give you tools that will allow you to fix this for your club And for those that will become officers in a district, when we will get a district, this will allow you to do the same analysis at scale and figure out how to interact with clubs to get them help to them. Okay? Any questions so far? Please. Guys, are you there? Are you dead? Are you still with me?
Yeah, no questions.
No questions.
No question.
Okay, well, Moments of Truth seminar is 6 things. We talk about 6 areas. And what you do is you divide your class, your people, your audience, your members into groups to fit 6 groups. And you say to each group, you're going to handle at least the area that I assigned to you and possibly another one if you have time. And you put them in breakout rooms, either physically or in rooms. You divide 6 rooms and you put them in rooms. My suggestion is that you don't put people with hierarchy on a particular area in the room that analyzes that. For example, I will not put membership orientation, the VPM, to be in that group because people are afraid to talk openly, okay? The same with education. You don't want to put in achievement and recognition, the VPE. You want to get people the opportunity to vent out. This is an opportunity for the people in the club to say to the other members of the club, even if they are officers, what they think member to member. There's no hierarchy in this. The officers take the crown, they leave it in the shelf, and they go to the floor as a member to converse with the membership on what things can be improved in each area, okay? This is very important, not to have hierarchy in doing any kind of brainstorming. So in first impressions, in the worksheet that I gave you, the worksheet is this. You have one poster that you can have the complete analysis. You have the instructions for running the seminar that I'm showing you now, okay? And you have the worksheet, the handout. And the handout, what it says, let me put it bigger. Do you see it there? Yeah. These are the 6 areas. And what you want is 1, we never meet the standard. 2, we rarely meet it. 3, sometimes we meet this. We usually meet it or we always meet it, okay? So you want to put a number from 1 to 5 in each of these boxes, okay? And then for each item that is rated 3 or lower, look at the best practices guide and see how you can fix it. And the best practices guide is the next page, which is tilted and it's very uncomfortable to read in the computer. And this is why I said print it, because to do this in the computer is extremely difficult, tilting head, and you will get headache, okay? But let's go back to we can do it from here, it's easier. Is this small enough? No, too small. Let's put it this way. So first impressions. I want any of you to shout, no hand raising, just shout, interrupt each other, it's no problem. Are we doing these things? Are we greeting people in such a way that we initiate the greeting and we tell them who are the people in the club? We don't say, this is the VPM. We say, this is the person that deals with members. We don't say, this is the VPE. We say, this is the person that deals with their education path, and so on. Other things that it says is for physical meetings, you provide tags. The equivalent of this is you require people to use their name in the Zoom meeting because it's polite to people have the face and the name, not iPhone or notebook or Google or whatever it is. Meeting location, etc. This is how you handle the logistics, how you handle the Zoom, how you handle the meeting if you have a physical meeting. If you have a waiting room, if you don't have a waiting room, how are you invited to join and so on? Are we doing this? Do you see any issues in your clubs where some of this is not done? Or without saying it's in my club, in any club that you have visited? Good and bad stories. Come on, go. Who wants to say something? I'm looking at you. I have this thing here where I have the faces of all of you. So
Who say something, please? Come
I'll
on,
say
Vika. you
something.
go.
I think at the
Yeah,
Morris
yeah.
Gilman Club, we do this. We definitely make the guests feel welcome. We ask them to introduce themselves in the beginning of the meeting. They get to address the club. They get to provide us feedback at the end of the club. And then as we go through the meeting, we identify who has which roles and help them understand it without using things that are specific to Toastmasters.
Yep, I agree. I'm a member of your club and I agree. But any other comments of other clubs that you have visited? I mean, not every club is as good as ours, and there's always something that we can learn from other clubs.
I'll just say one thing about other clubs. When I've met in person, what I saw other clubs do is either give a name tag to the person coming
Yep.
in or write their name on the board. And then when they address the guest, they call them by their name. And
Yes.
just by addressing people by their name, they feel included and respected. They feel like
Yes.
they're part of the club, and it makes it easier for them to feel like joining it later.
In the times of physical meetings, I insisted that people get the official tag with their level of achievement at the time, you know, the plastic tag with the magnetic thing. Economic times are harder and we don't meet in person, so this is lost a lot. There are some clubs, and you can enable that in Easy Speak, for example. In Easy Speak, you can say that you put the achievement level that the people have in to show. So there are many ways to show who's who and what level they have in terms of their education path. Well, we'll address that later because there's a point in another slide for that. One thing that I have a comment that I said to the board of Morris Gelman is we ask the guests to introduce themselves first. My personal preference is to do something so that they relax a bit and then ask them to introduce themselves after they have seen that the club is friendly in the working. But it's, you know, up to each club to define how they do it. The point is it has to be friendly. So we agree on that. Membership orientation. Formal induction, including presentation of PIN. This is when the person joins, make a big fuss about that. And the second point is more critical, which is assignment of mentor. Now, assignment of mentor is a negotiation between, hey, based on what you say and how you introduce yourself, we thought that one of these 2-3 people could be your mentor. They are available. Why don't you guys have a word in private? Think about it, exchange number, figure out what you want to do, and so on. And in assignment of mentor, I insist a lot when I can have some influence on that it follows a smart thing, that is timed. So it's like you're going to complete a path with my mentorship or 6 months or 5 months or whatever it is. So that whichever way it goes, there's a frequency of changing of mentors. And this is good for the mentor, it's good for the mentee, and it's good for the health of the club because sometimes people leave because they cannot get rid of the mentor or the mentee. So having a time limit is something useful. Education programs, I saw that in the earlier presentation where we saw the importance of the education program being explained. People come to a club for a reason, and each person is different from other persons. So I try to always ask, what are you coming to the club for? Don't tell me to improve your public speaking. There must be something more specific than that. Once you know that, that's the opening of the gates. Any comments on these points? Everybody's happy with what happens. What do you think about speaking roles assigned? Any comments on that? I can add to what was said before about the freeloaders. The freeloaders are the people who are guests forever. And it's not that they cannot afford it. They cannot afford in their pride to pay something that they can get for free, okay? It's a sad reality that we have to nudge these people gently nudging them to say, hey, you know what? You can take as many auxiliary roles as you want. You can be the timer, you can be the counter, you can be things that are very specific, but quite frankly, you're not going to learn a lot doing that. You're helping the club, you're learning from other people, but you're not learning by doing, which is the principal purpose of Toastmasters. Okay, and again, it goes back to the cost of ignorance and it's not that they are wasting space, but they are wasting their time, delaying joining. When they will realize that they have to join, it's too late for them. They wish they had joined earlier. Most people, you ask us, Master, what do you want? What do you wish? I wish that I had joined earlier, not having waited to join. The speaking roles should be assigned to the members. I have a very strong view about that on a personal basis, because the role of the club is to foster the learning of the members. There's nowhere, anywhere, not even in the Constitution and the board documents, that says that we are a public company or a charity that helps external people. I'm a Rotarian. Rotarians do not help themselves. Rotarian helps others. Toastmaster, they help the members, not the public. They have an importance and the importance of public speaking, but do not train the public. We train the members, and the members train themselves by working with each other, by doing. It's an experiential learning. Okay, so that's what I think is for this. There's a thing for disabilities. I want to make a comment that after an incident that happened several years ago, the whole board, the CEO, and everybody went through this for disability inclusion equity training. And that improved a lot, not just in the traditional categories. Somebody told me there's even a club for people who are neurodiverse, like myself. I'm autistic. I don't show it a lot, but I am. And its importance is that traditionally we used to accommodate wheelchairs and people who struggle speaking because they stutter. And now we cover the whole thing. And Zoom has a big importance with that, because people with mobility issues can attend by Zoom. People with visual disabilities can get screen readers to attend, and they get a lot of tools that they have in their computers that make the meeting available. And my point in making this is whenever clubs will go back to normal, clubs that moved into the virtual reality, that want to go to normal, please make the new normal hybrid meetings. Keep the options for members to join virtually if they cannot join in person. There are people who cannot. And I'm a member of clubs with people in wheelchairs, with people with screen readers. You know, Firebirds has any combination of those. Okay. Comments on this? No? No comments. Good. Fellowship, variety, and communication. We said that warming the guest, warmly greeting the guest, enjoyable education meetings. This means that you get people from outside to do trainings, and that you go outside to do training somewhere else. Okay. Usually anybody who comes from outside is more listened to than somebody, another member who does a special training. I think that the best training is delivered by people who go to another club to do the training and vice versa. That's personal opinion. I'm throwing a lot of my personal views in these. You have the supporting materials, you go and check and find what works for your club. We do not have now area, district, and international events. We will have them because there's a group very actively working on making it happen to have a district in Latin America. We do have informal interclubs events. We will have formal events when we will be in a district. And when it talks about newsletter and website, etc., every club has a different way of communicating. My personal advice is to use LinkedIn because of the type of training that we provide is more business related and opportunities related. And you're more likely to be taken seriously by somebody who's looking into LinkedIn. I advise to tag the members, or to, better yet, not to have a page for the club, but to have a page for the club and tell the members to reshare that in their social network. Because you don't want to get reach to the people who subscribe to your page. You want to get reach to the people who are connected to the members. There's this effect of second degree that you don't need to promote your page. you need your members to share your content. And in the case of LinkedIn, that is extremely easy to do. It's free. It doesn't cost absolutely anything. My advice is to use it. As I said about Rotarian, I'm trying to start that movement also over there, and it's working. We do things like when we invite people, we say, bring your friend to the meeting with his or her best friend too. We go one level of separation further. So the advantage of that is that the person who experienced the meeting with a friend, if the friend gets excited, either of the two can join or both of them can join. And they will listen to the opinion of the fellow member, that the fellow guest that they brought, more than their own. And if both get positively impressed, it reinforces. So you get two for the price of one in terms of efforts to recruit. Program planning, meeting organization. This is a very contentious area. So let's get through the simple things first. The program and the agenda publicized in advance. I used to publicize 14 weeks in advance as VP when I was acting VP. That's the limit of Easy Speak. We would have put further if we could. Basically, what we did is we asked members, in your education path, tell me in which month, not which day, which month you're going to do what project goes in each month. Of this path, I'm going to this, of this path, I'm going to this, fine. Now take 2 roles between these 2 months where you're doing projects. I want you to do project, 2 roles, project, 2 roles, project, 2 roles. And you begin scattering the thing in a calendar. I used to do it in a wall, in a physical wall, attached to a wall, and it was visible to everybody who was doing what, and that was reflected in Easy Speak. The idea is that in Easy Speak, or in whatever material you plan your meetings, you cover the emergencies, but most of the agenda is already known weeks in advance. People say, no, I'm not going to speak in July because I go on holiday, because my kid, because, perfect. Don't tell me that in July. Tell me that well in advance, because you know it well in advance. The idea that members are prepared to carry the program assignments depends on responsibility of the members, but it also depends on people knowing in advance what they have to do. Okay, if you are a grammarian and you were told that you're a grammarian today, you have very little time to prepare, choose the word of the day, it's a mess. So you really want to get it done earlier. Meeting begins and ends on time. That to me is essential, in particular for lunch hour clubs, because people who attend lunch hour clubs don't want to get in trouble with work. And it's a courtesy to everybody. The problem is not that they end over time. The problem is that nobody comes at the right time. In the UK, there's a custom that we say the meeting is called for, say, 5 p.m. to start promptly at 5:07, or to start promptly at 5:05. So you have like 5-minute tolerance, and it's considered rude, but the meeting starts at 5:05 with or without you. We don't wait for anybody. So it's a very draconian way, but it works, and it allows you to keep more content and speeches in the agenda. Positive and helpful evaluation. Again, my comments. Icebreakers should be evaluated by the most senior person in the club, so they get very positive feedback on what they already do well, that they get encouragement on what they are going to do better, because we recognize that we can improve things or fix things without telling him that it's wrong, but we tell them that we can get them to do them even better. And we withhold trivial things that may not be the best time to tell them during the evaluation of the icebreaker. Many evaluators who are not experienced do that, and people remember only that they did something wrong, and they do an icebreaker and they go away. So that to me is important. Any comments here, guys? Please. This is a workshop, okay? I shouldn't be doing all the talking. Guys, comments. Bill, Vika, Santiago, Monica. We have 10 people in the meeting. Come on, where are they? Who's silent? Elida. Yeah, don't raise your hand, just speak.
No, I think it's great. I think this is a great way to get people involved. And I also agree that someone who's giving an icebreaker should get feedback from a very seasoned evaluator, because you want to make sure that since that's the person's first time giving a speech, that they feel good about it and they feel like they've accomplished a lot, because just speaking in public for a lot of people is a huge accomplishment.
Yep. Just showing up is a good accomplishment. The moment you say it's an icebreaker, did he show up or she show up? Yeah, that's great. Did they come to, yeah, they do it. It's amazing. Forgive the bells. I cannot do anything about it. I live next to a church, so there's nothing I can do on this. Should I wait? No. Okay. Membership strength. The number of 20 is not a financial reason only. 20 is the minimum number of members that a club should have, so that the table topics are done by people who do not have anything else to do. In many clubs, you see people doing 2 or 3 or 4 roles in a meeting because the meeting is 4 people out of the 8 or 8 people out of the 12. There are people who cannot come to every single meeting. So you want to have 20 members to have always 16 present. And if you have more people than roles, then you use the table topics to get those who haven't spoken the ability to speak. That's the purpose of table topics. Now, there were meetings where somebody didn't show up. There's not a replacement speaker. We do more topics. That's great. Okay. There are people who come to Toastmasters just for the table topics. And those are called guests, because we allow guests to do table topics. Hold on, I'm getting an echo. Okay. I'm really getting a lot of echo. Is somebody, where am I getting the echo from? Well, whatever. Okay, the bells also. Promotion in club, organizational, community. We heard that earlier. We have a full hour on membership. I'm not going to repeat what was said by our esteemed colleague. My only concern is use the second degree of communication. Get people to tell their friends and their friends. It's a great way of expanding the network with the same amount of effort. Everything else was said in the earlier session. I think this, my comment on the 20 and everything else is there. Member retained is what I said you in the colors, in the colors of retention and growth. People confuse growth with retention. It's important, and you go back to your club and you calculate your growth and your retention. Okay. Achievement. Okay. Award application immediately submitted to work headquarters. That's obvious for obvious reasons. We need to do it. 1, because it's in the interest of the member. 2, it's in the interest of the club. 3, is in the interest of the organization. It is about the club, if there is such a thing as a district or as a division or as an area, whatever. And we should use discipline for planning and recognition at the club level. But it's important that starts from the members up. This is a pyramid that is built from the members up. It should not be, I need you to do this because the club needs this. Because people think that they are a means for the club to get recognition. The recognition of the club is a byproduct, a successful byproduct of the members achieving. So, you know, that is done through planning. That is done through achieving during the year. In the UK, we had a competition to see which clubs achieved the President Distinguished first. And the fight usually ends in February, March. There are clubs that manage to get every single point by February, March, and they overachieve in the rest of from March to June. There are clubs that struggle to get to a minimum level of distinguished. The purpose of this seminar is to get all the clubs to be at least distinguished, which is half of the possible points, at least that. Do it because your members behave. At least you provided enough quality and services to your members in average. That's the logic behind that. So this is more or less the end of the formal summary. In the end of the formal part of this meeting. This is the same slide that it was at the beginning. They end with this thing: you never get a second chance to make a first impression. I would add that once you made a bad impression, you never get a chance for anything. Okay, so members are very fragile, and I include myself. I had PTSD for 4 years for something. So people are fragile. Okay, we need to be very careful how we treat people in the meetings. People may be vulnerable and you don't know it. So we need to be very careful, and very careful means not only trying to avoid mistakes, but having an open environment that allows people who feel badly about something to say it so that we have a chance to fix it. And this is done only if we get the trust of the people to do that. I'm going to stop sharing here. We have a lot of time available for comments, etc. So I would like, if there is any doubt on any point, or if you think that we are missing any point to cover, and if not, I can go into more tips on how to detect problems or find things. Any comments?
Yes, I have one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what is the best moment in your experience to do this workshop in case of, for example, it's when you're finishes your period or when you're starting your period of the officers, or in the middle, or when is the best moment?
The joke is that the best time was already gone. It was yesterday or a year ago. The second best time is tomorrow. The third best time is when the new executive comes in. You should not wait for a new executive team to come in. In fact, there's a view that says, what is the most important or relevant role in a committee? And in the executive committee, the most important role is the immediate past president, because the immediate past president role is to mentor the other people. Now, to mentor, you have to have stuff to mentor with. So if you're the new president, and I say, Eliseo, you're the new president, and I'm the past president, let me tell you the state of the club. This is like showing you the books, showing you the due diligence. Moment of truth, to me, is due diligence in business. It's the same thing that you would say, I'm trying to sell a business, I'm trying to appraise a business, I'm trying to assess the situation, I'm going to do a health check. The same way that you go to your hospital and you do a health check, or you go to a business, an accountant, or an appraiser, and you say, please tell me what the actual status of this is, or you get a structural engineer to review a building. This is the equivalent. And this is the best gift, between quotes, that a president who becomes past president brings to the meeting, to the first meeting, say, this is what we have. This is what the member just told us that we have. So I would say that you have to do it before the new committee comes in, so that you have already the problems and they feel that they did not cause these problems, that their role is to fix it. They will create another problem. That's fine. That's the logic. The logic is people fix somebody else's problems and maybe create other problems, and in the process, the club grows. There is a growth in the people, in the clubs, in the leadership skills, and so on. You want the past president to bring information. The corollary of that is you want the past president to bring mentorship and information. You want the past president not to make decisions. The past president does not have a vote in the executive committee, has a voice, but in many things, they don't have a vote. They have a tie-breaking vote in some things. You can go to the governance documents. It's complicated. It's Robert Rules of Order. It's not that simple when things get heated. But what you want is a past president that is an enabler. And they enable with knowledge, with wisdom, with experience, and with information. And this is the seminar that provides information. So it's a well-spent time. In a club that is working reasonably well, you can do it in half an hour. You can do it in 40 minutes, okay? In a club that is 70 members or 50 members and the very strong opinions on things, it will take a lot longer. When you do it in a club, you're not doing that as a single tent like we're doing here. You're doing 6 groups. So each group looks at the problem and as to present that problem, and then they look at a second problem if they have extra time, and then each of the groups has a representative that says, well, we found that in the club we think these are the problems, if anybody has seen anybody, and some other group who also studied that same, they say, well, we found that in that area, which was our secondary area of study, we think this, and that, okay? So you get 1 or 2 groups to share per area. 6 area, that's like, you know, many table topics, okay? You do it in a very summary way, but you will find that there are issues that, you know, it's wildfire, okay? It spreads, okay? It's called moments of truth also because you have to have the climate in the club to allow for this to happen in a constructive way, okay? So it has to be done with a lot of tact, okay? And usually you want a moment of truth to be introduced from the top, to be the president and the executive say, we are doing this. We are going to do a health check to see how we're doing. And we're doing that as a gift to the new executive committee. So they have a chance to improve on top and to build on top of what we already built, okay? This is not about finding problems. It's about finding opportunities to do things even better, okay? I don't know if that helps, but the concept of the state of mind that you want is you're looking for opportunities for improvement. Yeah, Billy, you raise your hand? No. Any other comments or things? No? If you allow me, I would like to show you the kind of questions I was playing with ChatGPT. Can I do that for 1 second? Yeah? I'm going to go to where's the moment? Bear with me. I'm going to put this, and I'm going to quit this too. Bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. Okay, that's the share. Can you see the screen now? Yeah. Okay. Okay, the moment of truth, I told you this first piece. Give me more things, and it tells you a lot about the things, the areas that we covered now. The interesting piece, spare me 1 second, is this. Tell me how to calculate retention and growth within the context of the Toastmasters Club. The first answer that it gives is wrong. So you say, no, that's wrong. That's not the case. Ah, apologies. Yes, now I look better. Okay. ChatGPT makes a lot of mistakes because it's trained to give you the most popular answer, the most probable answer. It's an LLM, it's a large language model that is trained to understand the questions and find what are plausible answers by popularity, not by correctness, okay? The ChatGPT that is public is the 3.5, is good, but it's good enough, with the caveat that it has something called hallucinations. Hallucination is when you ask a question and it say the most probable answer is this, and there's a couple of cases people say, tell me about the wonderful product that this thing does for that I read about in magazine. Tell me about it. And ChatGPT say, yes, beautiful. It does this. It does that. The product doesn't exist. Okay, it's an invented product. So it's very easy to fool ChatGPT to say something wrong. The next question I wanted to do is capacity planning, linking expectation of how often a member would like to make a speech and the number of slot times for a speech to be given per meeting and how many meetings per period, etc. Explain the logic and get an easy formula to use. And this is capacity planning in the context of Toastmasters means matching how many slots, how many spaces we have for people to speak with how many speeches we need to do to meet the expectation of the people. And it starts with speech frequency expectations, okay? You ask the members, tell me when you're going to do each project. And people will say, I want to do a project in July, two projects in September, one project in November, and in January, I have more time. I would like to do 2 or 3 if I can. And you say, well, 2 per month is good. 3 is a problem, but we may try to accommodate. So that's the first thing that you figure out. The second thing is you figure out how many slots you have in a meeting. 4 speeches to 5 or 7 minutes, considering that some speeches will be longer, considering that an icebreaker is shorter. Great. Then you say, how many meetings do we have in a period? Okay, and then you say, well, we do the capacity planning, and you say the number of slot time meetings per meeting times the number of meetings, that's your capacity. And then you define how many slots you need in a year, and then you assign this. Now, if you do this many weeks in advance, it's extremely easy to do. If you want to do this, not many meetings in advance, but for the next meeting, there are many clubs that say, okay, for the next meeting, we need a grammarian. Come on, guys. You know, you should know that you need a grammarian for every meeting from the beginning, from July 1st to the 30th of June, you need a grammarian for every meeting. And you should know who can do it, because member who doesn't speak has a role, period. And what you want is people to understand that they are not coming for the table topics, they're coming for the roles. We do table topics when we have extra time, but we don't come to Toastmasters to do table topics only. There are many people who do table topics only, and usually those are guests and are freeloaders. So something, a caveat, okay? Next question, tell me about speakathons. Speakathons is when you get a Saturday or a Sunday or any non-working day, and you say, we're going to meet at lunch, and we're going home when the last person have done a speech, and we can do 10 speeches, 20 speeches. In India, they do things like several days. You know, they start on a Saturday, and they go on, and like 20 hours, people making speeches and receiving an evaluation each, okay? This is a sign of desperation when it's done in the month of May or June, because it means that they're doing that for the club, not for the members, okay? I have very strong views about doing this for the club. I think that speeches should be given when it's best for the member to be given that speech. And as a result of planning, you get the club as a byproduct to get the points and the DCP points and everything else, okay? But this is what you can do. You go to ChatGPT, or you answer the question, or you have it in the file, in one of the files that I gave you. This file that says MOT plus, and MOT plus is this conversation that I'm having with ChatGPT. Next, I say, are you familiar with DCP in the concept of Toastmasters and its cousin metrics at district level? Explain the concept of payment and importance of programs that like Beat the Clock. Toastmasters have a concept that above the club level, people are measured by the quality of the clubs and the growth of the clubs. When it comes all the way up to district, something called payments becomes significant, because as an aggregate, the organization wants to have a flow of money that is distributed in time in a way that is convenient for everybody. So discipline is what you do up to division. So you do area, club area, and division, and you do district, but then you begin talking about payments. So district metrics are how many clubs have you grown, how many education awards have you done, how many training offices have you done, member retention, etc. Okay, but payments is something that hits at that level. And there's a program called Beat the Clock that incentivate the clubs, saying you have a discount on anything that you buy from Toastmasters, you have a discount on things, and you have, you know, ribbons and, you know, regalia to use in your club if you do things in May and June. Okay, they want you to do whatever you can to get your members in May and June. In other words, to have the statistics aligned with the end of the fiscal year, which is June 30. There are similar programs at other points where it's convenient to have members. So because they count the number of payments, a member that joins in October pays one less time per year than a member that joins in another time of the year. So it's complicated. The point what I'm trying to say is that sometimes you will have a lot of incentives for doing something in a particular month. And the wisdom of Toastmasters is that it's good for the club, it's good for the member, but it's also good for the organization as a whole. So as a club officer, you are expected to put the priorities of your members first, your club second, but also to take into account the needs of the organization to have a smooth working. Now I go back to customer satisfaction. Tell me about NCS, net customer satisfaction. And it tells you how you calculate it. Basically, you say, I want the people who are extremely positive and the people who are extremely negative, and I figure out how many, what's the difference, okay? And there's a variant of that, okay? The CSAT, the CES, there's an NPS, and NPS is very used. NPS says, we're going to take the people who speak badly about the club, and we're going to compare that to the people who speak extremely well about the club, and we're going to ignore completely the people who are happy, but not happy enough to recommend, okay? And the next question is, please tell me the Net Promoter Score. Explain to club officers and future officers attending a training how to use moment of truth to significantly improve the quality and health of the club they manage. Be specific and detailed. These people are eager to learn and succeed. This is the real question I asked ChatGPT. I am in ChatGPT right now, okay? And it says, well, this is what you're going to do. This is the MOT tool. This is why you're going to do it. This is what you're going to do. And it tells you exactly point by point. Tell me why you ignore people who give out of 10, 7, and 8. And the reason is that the people who give 7 and 8 are good enough for them, but they are not going to bring guests. They're not going to promote the club. They're happy for them, but they're not that happy that makes them the duty to the fellow citizen to tell them about this amazing thing, okay? It's a very long explanation that the thing gives, and it's very well explained. Please explain the role of the immediate past president. Crucial to the health and future of the club, in particular, the role of mentoring executive is what I told you earlier, okay? All these, you have it in one file, or you can redo the questions and you can do the questions in Spanish, okay? Does the IPP vote? Well, explains no, the immediate past president doesn't vote in many things. Why do people say they attend Toastmasters for? And these are all the reasons that people come, okay? Blah, 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 blah. What do you really come for? This is what they say. What they come for is, yeah, they come for this, but they do not necessarily match with what I said before. Do people come to Toastmasters to learn English? Yes, people also come to Toastmasters to learn English, but that should not be the main thing, okay? Even ChatGPT tells you this. It's important to know that while improving English language skills may be a primary motivation for some Toastmasters members, others may join primarily for other reasons, such as developing leadership abilities or improving overall communication skills. We welcome everybody, we support everybody, but they have to want to improve communication skills and leadership skills, not just English. Which is the minimum level of English that you should have in order to join a Toastmasters club. There's no specific minimum level of English. This is not a formal requirement, okay? We are diverse, inclusive, etc., etc., etc. But it is important that is not a way to learn English. Okay. What's the length of the suggested MOT seminar in Toastmaster? And it says 60 to 90 minutes. It's less than this. This is if you do it in a large club and you have a lot of discussion, agitated discussions, then you go to 60 to 90 minutes. But usually you have it in half of a meeting, you can do it very, very easily. Okay, so this is the extra material that I prepared to you. As I said, it's in this file, Moment of Truth handout. And you can download it, or you can, sorry, it's in this MOT Plus, and you can see it here, or you can open, or you can download it, or you can, do whatever you want. Get a link, share it, whatever, download, make a copy, put it in your own drive, whatever, okay? So that's where we are. We are on time. The first session in the morning, I really went overboard. I hope that we are okay now. Eliseo, back to you.
Okay, yes, thank you, George, for that presentation and the extra part. Now, I think if we don't have any comment from the rest of the audience, maybe. No, I think not. Josh?
I forgot something. I'm not saying this on purpose. I should have said this earlier. I want to thank those of you who are watching the recording. And I want to thank those of you that are here double times. Now, there's a catch here. We are learning from what I'm presenting and from what the people here contributed. But we all miss the contribution from the people who are watching the recording only. And the people who are watching the recording miss the feedback of what other members think they were the contributions that we're going to make. So as the group that is organizing this, I think Monica, I can think that we are more or less in the same page. We need people to show at the workshops. If we do a training, there's a lot of work preparing, there's a lot of work doing, never mind that. The point is, the value doesn't depend on what we deliver, the value depends on your participation and the cross-pollination of cultures and things. We're a very diverse community. We need to cross-pollinate ideas, okay? So thank you, double thank you to the people who are here, and thank you to the people who are at home watching this in the recording. Please come to the events live. Monica, can you say something about the 27th? Is that okay? Or can I say?
Of course, we are waiting for this time. I want to thank you for this session. It was very interesting, and for all also the people who is connecting this time.
Maybe a leader can share about that, the 27th.
On the 27th of May, we got Andrew P. Bennett, who is a top voice coach. He's a voice coach for opera singer because he's a very famous opera singer in Europe himself. And he's one of the top speakers in Europe. He coaches many members of many clubs all over the world. He has done this seminar for thousands of people in other areas. I believe that he has not done the seminar for any club in Latin America yet. He agreed to do this for free, like the seminar that he does for Toastmasters. This is equivalent to the seminar that he gets paid fortunes by company to do on a private basis. As part of his commitment to the community, he does it for free. It has been seen by thousands of people. It's a workshop. You have to be here, you have to participate. It's not good to watch the recording, and because it's not good to watch the recording, there will be no recording. No recording, and no recording allowed. You put record, we kick you out of the meeting. Those are the rules of engagement. You cannot record the session. The speaker comes for free for those who show up. It is unlikely to be repeated in this year or the next 2 years or whatever. So it's a unique opportunity. We are inviting, with the agreement of the speaker, everybody in Rotary in Latin America who wants to show up, including Rotaractians, which are the Rotarians from 18 to 30 years old that before were not included in the prior agreements. So we expect a ton of people to show up. It would be a really missed opportunity if we have more Rotarians than Toastmasters, that's the first consideration. The good thing is most of the Rotarians who will come are potential guests and members because they are interested. They speak a lot more than we do in their normal life. Most of us have works that don't have to speak that much. Rotarians are people who are, in the other side, they're always speaking, always doing things. I am a proud Rotarian. I see the culture in the organization, okay? They need speaking skills, they need persuasive skills. This is great for them, but it's great for us. So we need to be there to learn, to interact with them, and also to catch them as members, okay? If you're a VPM, come to a session to talk to other people from your region who will be joining from Rotary. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, George, for that explanation. Yes, I'm going to declare the session closed. Thank you for attending and see you in the next workshop. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye. Have a great
Thanks,
weekend.
and thank you for your attention. The bells, look, it's the time.